Welcome back to the Snow Point Cast. Today we're going to be watching a game between myself and Chase Moloney. Chase is going to be on the left playing Flygon Lock, and I'm going to be on the right playing Gyarados. Not a matchup that I've tested a ton of before this game, but definitely an interesting one. I think that over time, like, Flygon Lock was obviously a really, really good call for 2009 Worlds, because it's just such a good deck, but, like, a deck like that does, I think, get weaker as your opponent, like, knows how to play and tech against it. Like, for example, you can just, you know, hold cards in your hand and not overspend cards, because every card in your deck is a turn that Flygon can still, like, you can still live versus Flygon that's trying to mill you. So, I'm going to try to implement that strategy and keep a fat hand in this matchup and see what Chase is going to do about that. The thing about Flygon is sometimes Flygon just hits, like, really good top decks off your discards for the Flygon level X, Wind Erosion, which can really hurt. And we're going to see which cards I get Wind Eroded this game, because I do remember Chase definitely does hit a Flygon level X at one point during this game. Shuffling up, though, getting ready. Want to make sure the cards are all separate. Although, honestly, if you get cards together in this, like, if you get double Magikarp in a hand, it's like, oh, not that I would endorse that at all. But just saying. Oh, see a Sableye there, so that's kind of nice. Also have double Scoop Up in hand. That's nice, too, because Flygon is going to try to, like, lock your Sableye. And if you're able to super Scoop Up heads, it just means that it's not on the board for them to lock, which is what you really, really want. So starting a Sableye to a G, and Sableye just gets to go first because of Overeager, such a good Pokebody. So I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to impersonate. I'm going to go for probably a Roseanne's Research this turn. Probably going to grab... Yeah, I see Double Carp at the top of the hand. Probably trying to grab Double Carp. There might be a Felicity's in that hand. If you can Felicity's 2 Carps on the first turn, it's pretty decent on your second turn. I mean, Sableye's so good like that. Like, you get to go first, and it doesn't even really seem like you didn't get to go first, because you get to use supporters when the rest of this format doesn't even get to use supporters on the first turn. But if you got Sableye, just discard one with Impersonate. Yeah. Oh, we're going to go for a Bebes. Interesting. Yeah, so... maybe 3 Roseannes in hand. That makes sense. No Roseannes. That's kind of funny. Yeah. Or were those Scoop Ups? I don't know. I don't know what I'm showing there. I think it could have been multiple Roseannes. I might have 3 Roseannes in the hand. I feel like that happened. So yeah, I'm gonna go for a Bebes for a Magikarp. Not as amazing as a Roseanne, but what are you gonna do? Trev hits or not Trev. I'm so used to commentating with Trevor being my opponent. Chase hits a Call Energy, and he's just gonna call, which is super fine too. I mean, this is kind of the slower 2009 format. You just get to chill and set up your board, and then Gyarados can start swinging like this turn. And honestly, if you're going second, you can hit Broken Time Space and some silly stuff to start swinging really hard. But yeah, definitely a little bit of a slower format, especially Flygon Lock. It's definitely a slow deck. You're doing single attaches and not too many double attaches. Gyarados, on the other hand, gets to attack for free, so it's kind of an interesting dynamic in this matchup. How Flygon, once it gets set up, if it hits the energy, which you have to hit like 3 to hit a consistent board lock in the deck, because you have to go water for the Palkia, just because restructure lets them choose one on your board, and fighting for the Claydol, and then Psychic for, you know, whatever else. But yeah, so interesting setup here. Chase is just checking his prices, I think, here. Baltoy and a Trapinch. Trapinch, the main attacker of the deck. Not Flygon, but Trapinch is the main attacker of Flygon Lock. Definitely a solid 2. If Chase has like a Bebe Search or a raw Claydol in hand, he might have the Claydol next turn, or you can just call again. I mean, the thing about calling a G is I need to have 2 Magikarps in the discard and a Gyarados to knock that G out, and a switching option, so I need a lot of stuff before I can, like, take a KO this turn. It is nice, but if he just sticks that call in there, he can do it again, and then if I don't kill the next turn, he can just retreat it. And at that point, he might be able to Sandwall or, you know, do something depending on what he hits this next turn. Don't know what I'm talking about there. Yeah, I think I had multiple Roseannes in that. I think it might just be 1. It might be 3. Who knows? I'm not very good at showing my hand to the camera, but I think I probably would have went for the Roseannes there. I mean, there's no reason not to get 2 Magikarps. Probably prized Roseanne. I had 3 in the hand. Unfortunate, but sometimes you just hold an L in Pokemon. So gonna bench a Magikarp here. Yeah, there they are. Yep. That's funny. Yeah, let's see the 3 Roseannes there. And gonna use the Roseannes. Wise. Roseanne's gets you 2 Magikarps this turn, and then you can impersonate Felicity to get them in the discard. You really don't want to bench a Regice in this matchup. Regice is your like usual Magikarp discard method, but you cannot afford to do that in this matchup. Although, because it's got 3 retreat, and you're only out to like getting it off the field permanently, so super scoop up. And warp energies and warp points work, I guess, but I mean Q doesn't work, and just like 3 retreat is sometimes you can attach a Cyclone energy and just retreat something if you're not getting locked if they don't have the Palkia, but really can't afford to have a Regice. And I think like this is the best of 3 set, but there's just one game here, and I think in one of the games I do have to like drop a Regice to discard some Magikarps, and I end up getting lucky hitting some switch outs and being able to be fine with that. It was a really kind of a sketchy play, but it ended up paying off because I won the game. But definitely a little bit suspect. You have to be really careful about your bench Pokemon. If you even if you drop a second Sableye, that's really bad in this matchup. So yeah, Chase is going to drop a Claydol. Clutch. This means he's going to start setting up however he wants, really. If I can hit like Gyarados Warp Point next turn, that's pretty clutch for me, especially if I'm able to like find a way to discard another Carp. It does have to be a Felicity's Carp, and I don't think I see the Carp in the hand. Yeah, he's going to go Fighting on the Trapinch. And then Candy and a Flygon. That's good. That opens up the Flygon level X option for next turn, which buffs your HP by a significant amount. That's the biggest thing. I mean, of course, the Sand Erosion is amazing too, but having the 140 HP is significantly higher than, I think it's like 120 on Flygon. Like, it's 20 more. And that's the difference between Gyarados needing like 2 Crobats or Crobat a turn and a plus power, and like Crobat turn plus power. Like the 5-card combo compared to a 3 is pretty significant. Although Gyarados can still get there, but you may as well, force your opponent to hit the highest card combo to knock you out if they're going to try to knock you out. So he's going to go for a Roseanne, get a Trapinch, and something else. Maybe another Baltoy. Oh, Nidoran. That's, yeah, super smart. Nidoqueen is super important in this matchup once Gyarados starts swinging. And if you can get enough benched Pokemon on your board, like if you can get 3 Flygons going, then it's entirely possible that you just like rotate between them and attack, depending on like what your opponent's board is hitting. So he's got a Memory Berry here. Interesting. Kind of an interesting interaction that's going to happen here. Flygon's colorless because Dragon is colorless. Back in the day, they didn't have Dragon type for the longest time, but they just made it normal type. But Sableye is resistant to normal by 2 Tails on the scoop up L. Super scoop up again. And another Tails. That's another L. But yeah, Sableye, since he's a ghost dark Pokemon, he's resisting colorless because that's like normal type. But Dragon is colorless, so it's like resisting the attack that, I think it's called Sandtomb. Sandtomb, the one that, yeah, Sandtomb. Oh, I do have the Felicity in hand. I don't know if I have the Carp. Yeah, I think maybe I already used the Luxury Ball. I don't know why I didn't discard or like search for Carp with the Lux Ball and then discard the Carp. Interesting. Maybe I already have all of them in the discard. I don't think that. I think I have 2 in the discard. This is still pretty good for me, though. I mean, a Warp Point here means that I know I have the Gyarados in my hand. I think I have BTS in my hand as well. BTS is not that big of a deal because, you can get Sandwalled, and then you still have lots of options. And taking out Pokemon means that Flygon also attacks for less because it attacks based off the evolved Pokemon in play. So taking out basic Pokemon is also, like, it's good for your long-term strategy against Flygon. If you can take a KO where you can. I don't even need the BTS because I had the Magikarp in play that turn. That's clutch. Yeah, because you do not want to drop BTS against Flygon if you can prevent it. Sometimes you have to, but you really don't want to. So he's going to go for the Cynthia's Feelings for 8. That's pretty good, too. He's got that, and then the Claydol. Something Trevor and I were discussing was, like, when you're Claydolling and have a Cynthia's Feelings for 8, sometimes, depending on your hand, you want to use the Claydol first because you're not guaranteed to have a Claydolable hand after the Cynthia's. Like, you might have, like, 5 supporter cards and 2 energies, and then like you can't Claydol that turn for a plus of cards anyway, which is frustrating. So it really depends on the hand, but yeah. So he gets the Premier Balls there as well, and he's gonna go for the Flygon level X. Got Wind Erosion. He's gonna start milling some cards. So, I mean, that's really smart. He's just doing the strategy of the deck. Strategy of the deck is to take out the deck. So he's going to go for the second attach there too, just preparing to maybe attack there. Depends on what the board looks like in a second. And then he's going to Claydol for 2. And he's probably going to use Luring Trap, I think is what it's called. I don't remember. All the, like, basic ones. The cards are too small to see in, like, the video right now. But I have to remember all. I think it's, like, Luring Trap. Whatever the first deck is, the colorless one. Super Scoop Up Heads. Super Clutch. That's exactly what you want on the Sableye. Because now that Sableye's not even on the board. And I'm not even getting threat of knocked out next turn. Like, there's nothing that can kill me with his board unless... I mean, even if he has, like, a full board candy, the entire line out, like, quad candy, which he already used a candy, then, like, it's just not going to happen. And even then, if he hit that, like, it couldn't even happen because he maxes at 110. So yeah, gonna Felicity for some more cards. Gonna discard that Sableye. I don't need it anymore. This is clutch as well. I think I prized a Carp here probably. Yeah, there it is. Okay, that makes a lot of sense why you don't go for the other Carp. So yeah, gonna grab that Carp. That's super important, especially when you're swinging against a Nidoqueen. Nidoqueen's gonna heal that damage up, but if you're only doing 60 instead of 90, it's pretty significantly less because you're going like 60-40 in like into 100, which doesn't really knock out much. Doesn't even kill a Flygon. But if you go like 90-70, that lets you hit 160 because the Nidoqueen heals 2, right? And then you can just hit the 2-shot there with 90 a lot easier. Just hit another Felicity's there. Gonna discard a Carp and a Regice probably. Just because you really don't need those in the hand. I think it actually might be Chase's turn. Still Chase's turn. He's still thinking of what he's gonna do. I thought that he was gonna do something. I just had that Felicity's in play from last turn, I guess. Oh no, Azelf. No, it's my turn. Yeah, okay, this is interesting. So this is the game where I benched the Regice. I thought this was another game, but I'm really glad it was this game. So bench the Regice here, and I go for the Regi move to discard the Carp because I don't have another Felicity's. I think I already used all 3 of them, and I had one prized or something. But I went for the Regi move, and it doesn't do anything because Flygon's an evolution Pokemon, not a basic. But yeah, so interesting drop on the Regi. I have also used 3 Super Scoop Ups, so I mean, if I'm really going to be gunning to scoop that up, I got 1 shot for it, which is really, really dicey, especially when Flygon can just go, I'm going to bring that up every turn, and you need more than just a Cyclone Energy or a Q to bring it back, which is definitely a pain. But getting that Magikarp in the discard is also a big deal. I mean, hitting it for 90 is significant, especially when there's no Nidoqueen in play. You want to hit that for damage as early as you can so that if you... So one of the clutch plays you can do in this matchup is you hit it for 90. You hit like a Flygon for 90. And if they don't have a Nidoqueen in play, you can go take a Magikarp out of the discard, bench it, and then you don't have to worry about putting a Broken Time Space in play. So because they have whatever that Sand Veil, the first attack on the Flygon, that locks or makes them invincible if you play a stadium. You really never want to play a stadium. But 90 and 60 is 150, which is more than Flygon and level X's HP. It's got 140 HP, so it knocks it out. Pretty clutch math there. That is an option. Depends if Chase can hit this. I think he hit the Nidoqueen, so I think he's about to go Candy Queen. I don't remember. Didn't see him. Okay, I got the Palkia. Yes, he's maybe searching for a Palkia. It's kind of got a chill board. The thing about this deck, you have to be thinking about so much because your long term is just to mill them. So like he has to be thinking about every single prize that he's going to be letting me take. And sometimes like when you're at a board position like this, you might have to like feed Gyarados something. So he might be thinking about feeding. I mean, you want to have the Gyarados alive for as long as you can. If he doesn't get the Palkia level X this turn because he benched the Palkia, but he can get it next turn, and then he can start hitting the true lock on the Palkia unless there's a warp point or a warp energy, which this Gyarados list is teched. I teched it out for Flygon just because I think Flygon is such a good deck. It's like probably one of the best decks in 2009, if not like, I don't know. Gyarados and Flygon are both like tied for first. I think they're both really good decks. Yeah, so got some options here. Bench the Dude Skull. It's probably going to sack the Skull here, which I think is good. Might even Sinister or Counting Song to drop 3 on the dose, because then he can have the option to get a knockout with the Flygon eventually. He can't get it. Oh, actually, he could. Yes, it's 60 plus 10 for each evolution Pokemon. Yeah, so it's like you can do 100 if he does the... oh, interesting. Goes for a call on the Nidoran. So if he drops 3 with the Counting Song, he can go. Yeah, I think that is what he's gonna do. He has the option to potentially hit some evolution stuff and knock me out next turn, which is a decent option for him if you can kill the only Gyarados on board, force some recovery. Usually you want to be milling, but sometimes, I mean, especially if you have damage on board before Nidoqueen, you have to take out a threat. It's kind of the nice part about Flygon too. I think it's very similar. Like Zoroark in 2018 was very similar to like Flygon in this era, because you could either like mill your opponent, or you could just like play a game where you're aggressive and play literally based off your bench Pokemon. It's the same deck. The only thing is like you have Claydol's with better draw. Gotcha. You thought I was gonna say Zoroark's better, but actually Claydol's better. I don't know. That's a tough call because Zoroark, I don't know, 210 HP is a lot. Anyway, I started talking about Zoroark. Go for a Roseanne here. Gonna find a Crobat and something else. Okay, and then double bat on the Duskull to knock it out, definitely. Or triple bat, actually. So bat, double Poketurn, kind of an interesting knockout. May as well force something else, because you really don't want to KO that Duskull. I think that was a good play there. Kind of a burning of some plus powers, but probably necessary. I mean, I get to attack something else. And here, I'm taking the knockout this turn on a Palkia, which is quite clutch. Really what you want. Flygon really would like to have Palkia in play, and when you can take that Palkia out, that's a pretty big deal. And so Flygon goes up on a Millibucks. Not the best, but also kind of bad. You really don't... The thing about Gyarados is, like, you don't want to be milling anything against Flygon. You have switching outs, you have recovery outs, you have, like, plus powers and Bucks trainings and Poketurns and Crobats, stuff that, like, buff your damage. And you really don't want to be discarding those either, because you have to... Sometimes you have to push over really big Flygon, because Flygon can... They can sometimes just pump out, like, 3 Flygon level X's in a game, and you're just like, holy moly, like... it's so much damage that you have to hit, especially when they're healing and rotating through their Flygons. It can be a little bit tricky. So he does hit that Nidoqueen. Definitely a clutch Nido. I am up 3 prizes pretty quick. That's the thing about Gyarados too, is it can go up prizes quite quickly, especially if you have like a Regice and they don't have the evolution Pokemon in play yet. You can like force Reggie moves into some good plays, and also benefit off that to discard some Magikarps. Chase is going to go for a Roseanne's for a Trapinch and a Psychic here. Going to drop a Mewtwo as well. Not crazy sure about the Mewtwo. Maybe he's just thinning for the Claydol. That's not bad, but I mean, I guess he's never really going to power the rate this game. I guess he's just trying to stall out, and forces the switch option here. Chucks a Trapinch up and then starts to heal on the Flygon level X. That's a really solid play. I mean, Chase he won Worlds in 2012, and it was for a reason. He's a very good conservative player. He knows when his resources are. He's got a Memory Berry, Flygon level X, Flygon on there, 2 energy. Like that's a very large investment. So him chucking the Trapinch active and saying, hey, listen, you have a switch for this Regice, and I do see the switch. It's a warp point there, or a warp energy rather in the hand if I want to do that. And he says, I'm just gonna chuck this Trapinch, even if you hit it, whatever, I don't really care. At least I got to keep my Flygon for maybe another turn. And I got a Luxury Ball for a Gyarados here. Gonna take it out of the deck. You know, it's kind of a strategy that you don't want to do, but on the other hand, it's also one of the cards that you really need in this matchup. Like, as long as you keep swinging at Flygon and they have to keep adapting to your damage, that can be a really hard part of this matchup for them to deal with, is if you have a Gyarados just consistently swinging for like 90 or 100 or 110 and knocking stuff out, or 120, whatever, then that could be really tough to deal with. Because you want to play a long game where you're not getting knocked out, so you can mill them as much as possible. And I haven't really got like stuck milled here. I've just been like taking prizes. But I do have that Regice on the board, so that is a potential for... Scoop Up. That's the last Scoop Up, so that is a really clutch discard off of the Wind Erosion. So I don't have the option to Scoop Up this Regice this game. Not amazing for me, but there are still a lot of options that I have. I think I have some Warp Point left and maybe a Warp Energy as well. I think I say a Warp Point in that hand. Yeah, it's a Warp Point. So Jason's going to go for a Premier Ball here. Probably going to find, Mewtwo level X. Force some damage to KO. He gets to keep the Flygon on the bench, and then... hopefully, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. If the Mewtwo stays active and doesn't get knocked out, then the Flygon can go back up and then be healed enough that the Gyarados can't just knock it out now without some damage modifiers, which is what you really want, because that's his pretty big investment in the board. Kind of sucks that he doesn't have an active. That you really want to be milling your opponent as much as you can, but he also has to keep it on the bench, because it's like it seems counterproductive that you're like not milling your opponent when that's your goal, but you have to also like think about where your investments are. He has 2 energies and the Memory Berry on there, and like you can't just let that die. If your board position, if you let that die, is like nothing. So you have to like play conservatively, and so he goes for the energy absorption, gets the energy on here, and he's gonna be able to KO the Dose if I do not have the damage modifiers to KO. So I'm going to go for a Pokemon Rescue, see what I got here. If there's a Magikarp, okay. This is interesting. Bench the Magikarp. I just really don't want to... I don't know about that. I guess I just didn't have the KO straight, so you're going to have to two-hit, and you know you're going to get one shot back, so you have to, like, count on it dying so that you can still two-shot the Mewtwo. And, like, this is exactly what Chase wanted. Chase wanted me to have not the knockout on the Mewtwo, which is exactly what happened. I don't have the cards to get there. I have a plus power, but I don't have... I used the other turns on the Duskull earlier, which is good as well to get a prize, but it means I don't have them now. So Chase is going to be able to get the knockout on this Mewtwo this next turn with this Mewtwo. I mean, not crazy good because it's not what the deck really wants to do. You want to be milling, but taking out the threat is kind of good. I do have that Gyarados in my hand, so I'm not even really worried about that. I'm just going to need some more damage modifiers to KO this Flygon now, which is fine. We can get there, as long as they don't get discarded. That is. He doesn't have it active, though, so it's, like, not that big of a deal. I do have a Warp Point in my hand as well. The thing is, he does have that Nidoqueen in play, so Nidoqueen is 120 HP, which can be... I mean, if I'm going to Warp Point him, he's going to put the Queen up, because I can just one-shot the Claydol anyway. And he's going to force me to hit, like, triple damage modifier to do the... Oh, yeah, so I don't put the Magikarp. I think that's a better play. I was thinking about that the whole time, and I was like, that's pretty questionable. But, yeah, I don't know. At the same time, like, I might have a BTS in hand. It might just be okay with dropping it, because... If you take 40, like, look at the board right now, he's not going to be able to one-shot me unless he benches some more Pokemon. So if it gets to that point, then we can think about that. But you have to, like, think about where your opponent's at, because, like, his damage right now is capped at 1, 2, 3. He's capped at 80 right now. So, like, even with the 30, he's not able to one-shot me if he hits me for 30, or, like, 40 again. Like, he'll do 40, oh, yeah, 40 and... 40-80. Yeah, 40-80 is 120, which doesn't knock out the Gyarados, which is really bad. And then, like, if they... I don't have any scoop-ups left, but if they get a scoop-up, that is pretty bad. But Chase is a good player, and he knows that I am probably out of scoop-ups. He probably knows that by now. And he's going to go for the switch into Flygon level X. I don't know. I think he's going to probably go for, like, a sand trap on the... or inviting trap on the Regice. I mean, I have the Warp Point, so it's really tough for him at this point. There's 2 more prizes, so he can have a turn where he chucks the Nidoqueen up as well. Yeah, not an amazing position for Chase to be in right now. He can free retreat back to the Mewtwo if he wants to do that. Yeah, the aggro start from Gyarados can be a bit of a pain in the butt to deal with. Thinking, okay, yeah, so he touches the water. That's the thing. I mean, if you had the Palkia here, I would have to have used the... Warp Point a long time ago on the Regice to be taking knockouts, and even then he could just chuck the Nidoqueen stuff active. Like, I wasn't able to kill the Mewtwo, so I probably wouldn't be able to kill the Nidoqueen as well. Time Space Distortion discarded, super fine, really chill. So he forces me to hit damage modifier and a switch here, and the Warp Point doesn't even knock out the Flygon. It knocks out something else on the bench. I mean, he's gonna put the Queen up, which is super fine too. Really what he wants here. I mean, I'm gonna have to hit some stuff if I'm gonna knock him out. I do have a Bucks there, so I'm gonna maybe try to go for it with the Bucks. Plus power and a Bucks. Oh, and a bat. So that's it. So that's good. I mean, I gotta kill the Nidoqueen as well, and then that stops the healing. So it just means I'm only gonna need a single damage modifier for the Flygon instead of maybe 2. So yeah, this is pretty chill right now. Not a bad position to be in. Knocking out the Nidoqueen is a definitely... I had the cards to do that, so that's really clutch. Probably drew some bucks off the prizes. And he kills a Poketurn, so that's pretty good as well. I mean, it's the damage modifier that I would have needed to get the knockout here. But I do still have some other cards in my hand that I can... Like, look how fat that hand is. Oh, so something I was going to bring up, too, that Chase was talking about, how, like, Team Galactic's Wager is a card that, like, should be included in Flygon lists now, I think, because, like, if you're versus a bad opponent, they'll spend cards. But if you're versus a good opponent, they'll hold their hand really fat until they, like, need something, and then they'll play it. And then you won't, like, have the option to mill them as quickly. Yeah, I mean, have the Warp Point. But, like, when you can Team Galactic's Wager, see that fat hand, I had so many options there. You can just force them to shuffle it back and then have an option to mill those cards. But, yeah, anyway, so that was Flygon Lock versus Gyarados. Thanks so much to Chase Moloney for playing that game. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will see you next time.